Let's bring in aviation analyst John Nance for more. John, first, what was your reaction when you saw the video of the crash with the helicopter falling apart before it actually came crashing down?
Yeah, Diane, it was a momentary confirmation of something that we had pretty much figured out a couple of hours ahead with the eyewitness reports, talking about the sound that came from the helicopter and then talking about what they saw and it plummeting in. So the visual confirmation was rather startling.
Divers are working to retrieve major parts of the helicopter. The main body's been retrieved, but you still have several main pieces in the river. What happens once they do?
Once they do, it'll be assembled, maybe in a hangar, maybe someplace else, but the board will really begin the painstaking work of trying to figure out precisely what happened, what failed on this helicopter, because a very unusual situation to begin with in losing a rotor, losing the basic elements to keep the thing in the air. But the way that it came down, including the shot that you've seen several times now of the, it's not a propeller, it's actually the rotor system, the rotor blades, still rotating. That's rather amazing. But it tells us that there was an inherent failure somehow in the mechanism that holds the chopper up, which is the rotor system, and that will have to be pieced together very painstakingly.
So how different is a crash like this compared to if an engine fails mid-flight, for example?
Well, your backup to flight in a helicopter, if your engine fails, is called auto-rotation. Every pilot of a helicopter knows how to do this. It's a little bit dicey. In other words, you've got to make correct estimates, but basically what you do is use the wind coming up through the rotors to keep them rotating until you get close enough to the ground, and then you flare it out and you can land, sometimes a little harder than normal, but basically it's a safe maneuver.
So should people think twice about getting on one of these tourist helicopters or any helicopter right now?
I don't see anything that would justify my saying, oh gosh, we've got a revelation here that this is unsafe. We have one helicopter that crashed. That's too many. By the same token, is there a trend here? And I don't think that we've seen anything that would say there is at this point. So no, I wouldn't hesitate to get on it with a reputable company, whether we're talking about Hawaii, the Grand Canyon, New York, Chicago, wherever these are.
All right, aviation analyst John Nance, thank you.